Good afternoon, everyone. Naririnig po ba ako?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. So good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our webinar. Welcome to our webinar on Naga City Business News Program. Our topic for this afternoon is about this loan program that the LGU Naga City has provided to our entrepreneurs here in the city. Okay, so thank you, everyone. So welcome once again to our webinar on Naga City Business Stimulus Program, the financing program of LGU Naga City. So allow me to introduce myself this afternoon. I am the Business Counselor of Negosyo Center Naga City, G. Mancelares. So mahanap niyo po ang Negosyo Center sa may Dolly Building in front of Metro Peso Office. Sa City Hall compound po yan ng LGU Naga. So yan. So I hope hindi po maputol ang ating connection or walang problema para rehas tayo na nag-experience. Parang ulan ng malakas this afternoon. Sana hindi maapektuhan ang ating internet connection. So before po tayo magsimula, I'll just for a while, I'll just mute po yung microphone. Okay. So ang webinar guidelines natin po for this afternoon is kindly observe proper etiquette in this webinar session. Everyone is encouraged to use the chat section whenever you have clarifications, questions to our speaker for this afternoon. And later on, we will have also an opportunity to ask. Meron po tayong open forum for this afternoon after ng discussion ng ating invited speaker para naman ma-address yung mga concerns nyo, clarifications, and others. And everyone is ongoing. So para po mas marinig natin or maintindihan po natin yung discussion. If ever naman you'll have difficulty, I'll just turn off the microphone na lang po. Ano po? And whenever you have questions as well, you can use your microphone naman po. So you can unmute and maybe pwedeng ma-respond yung question. Any of the two po is applicable. Section or yung ating microphone. Pwedeng may video pa para makita po kayo ng speaker natin. In case the webinar encountered an internet connection problem or magkaroon tayo ng difficulty sa connection, we will restart the webinar. And please don't forget to like the Facebook so we could inform you right there. So yan. So before po ulit natin i-introduce ang ating speaker for this afternoon, gusto ko muna po kayong pasalamatan for joining us this afternoon. Actually, this has been yung pinakamarami ko na pong participants for our webinar. We are 35, I think. 35 sa webinar. So good afternoon, everyone. Kamustahan po tayo muna sa chat section para at least mas maging light ng ating hindi pa po ba maulan sa lugar ninyo ngayong hapon? Yan. Kamusta po kayong lahat? Para po maramdaman ng ating speaker na may kasama tayo. Kasi lahat po tayo naninibago sa webinar.
Okay lang po.
Ano po?
Ulan pala.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon. Yan, ulan pa lang po. Tama.
Ulan na maulan.
I believe yung iba po natin na-disconnect. Ulan na, ma'am. I believe yung iba po na-disconnect, pero mag-join na lang po ulit kayo. Ano po? And then, okay. So, I'm glad po na okay pa naman tayong lahat. So, huwag na po natin patagalin yung ating activity for this afternoon. So, good afternoon, everyone. Yan.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon po. Yes, madilim nga po talaga sa labas ngayon. Kanina naririnig ko sa mga naka-unmute po ang microphone na. Nung kumulog dito.
Lakas, sir.
Yes. So this alis agad-agad mamaya kasi makareceive po kayo ng e-certificate after this webinar. Proof that you have attended this webinar, and then may accomplish lang po kayo mamayang online evaluation form para po makuha natin yung ating e-certificate. So at this point po, okay lang po ba na i-mute na muna po natin yung ating mga microphone so that we could hear po ang ating speaker for this afternoon. Okay, I'll just mute po yung ating mga naka-on na microphone. Okay. Okay, I think ready na po ang ating speaker for this afternoon. Hanapin mo na lang. This afternoon, we have invited Ms. BJ V. Diasis, the Credit Officer 2 and Section Head Enterprise Development Section Head of Enterprise Development Center of Metro Peso Naga. So magkapit-bahay lang po ang aming opisina She's from LGU Naga City. So siya po yung magdi-discuss na ino-offer sa mga entrepreneurs natin sa Naga City. So I think she's ready. She's always ready. So introduce ko na po sa inyo. Let's all welcome virtually Miss BJ BTS. Okay, hanapin ko lang po kung nasan si Miss BJ para sa kanya po i-spotlight ang ating video. Okay, let's just wait for Miss BJ. Okay, hi Miss BJ. I think. Let's just wait po for our speaker. Ayan, yan.
Can you hear me na?
Yes po, I can hear you.
Okay.
I'll just...
So, first...
For a while, Miss BJ, I'll just spotlight the video po sa iyo para makita. Ay, nag-on ka po ba ng video?
Yes.
Sige. Okay, yan. Nakita ko na po. Yan. Okay.
All
The
right.
floor is yours po.
So, thank you very much, G-Man. And good afternoon, everybody. And I would like to say thank you also to Ma'am Edna Tejada of DTI CAMSUR for inviting Metro Peso to further explain to everybody kung ano ang programs ng Metro Peso. So can you...
Nawala po yata yung sound.
Nakamit ka, Miss BJ.
Yan.
Okay na po.
Can you hear me? Okay. So, once again, I would like to thank Mr. G. Mancelere, Edna Tejada of DTI CAMSUR for inviting Metro Peso to further explain about the programs of our office. Of course, Metro Peso is headed by Mr. Florencio T. Negosyo Jr. and Metro Peso is under the local government unit of Naga City, headed by Mayor Nelson S. Legacion. So, Metro Peso, my section, by the way, I'm BGD Aziz. I'm the credit officer and section head of Enterprise Development Center. So we have two programs for my section, and that's the Angat Kabuhayan program and the Naga City Business Stimulus program. The Angat Kabuhayan program, it's our permanent program. It's our financial livelihood assistance for all our small and micro enterprises. Now, for the Naga City Business Stimulus Program, this is just temporary. Ito po yung kasagutan ng LGU Naga. Ito yung tugon natin in helping our micro and small enterprises. So, next slide, please. Okay. So, Metro Peso, through my section, the Enterprise Development Center, we have a livelihood program, as I mentioned, and we call it the Angat Kabuhayan program. It's been going on since as way back as 1993. I can actually see a lot of livelihood assistance way back 1993. Ang ating program, it's not just for mga sari-sari store, it's not just for small restaurants or cafeteria. It is also available for groups or cooperatives. May mga requirements din po tayo dyan. Next slide, please. Okay. Angat Kabuhayan is a regular program. We have qualifications for the loan assistance. Basically, the first, dalawa yung ano natin for Angat Kabuhayan, as I have mentioned, it could be individual. Pag sinabi natin individual, it could be partnership, it could be parang a business, a family business, so long as the name in the mayor's permit is only under one name. So, sino-sino yung qualified for the Angat Kabuhayan as individual applicants? Number one, of course, you have to be a resident of Naga City. Siyempre, pera ng Naga City, pera ng syudad, so dapat ang tutulungan natin is within our jurisdiction. you need to be 18 years old and above kasi may contract tayo for that, and according to the law, hindi naman pwedeng mag-enter into contract yung minors. And then the next qualification is that you should not be an employee of the city government of Naga. It's just right to have that qualification kasi parang sa isang bahay, may pera yung nanay, na ang kailangan mong tulungan yung nasa labas, so bakit mo kailangan unahin yung nasa loob? So mas maganda na kung tutulong tayo, yung nasa labas muna. However, there is a exemption for that. Open yan for employees of Naga who are single parents. So long as they will be able to provide IDs or certification from CSWD na sila ay single parent, and then we could allow them to enter into loan through our office. The next eligibility or qualification is that you should not have any existing or overdue loans in our office. Ibig sabihin, baka nakalimutan mo na noong 2003, nag-loan ka sa amin, tapos nakalimutan mo ng bayaran, tapos ngayon naisip mong mag-loan ka. Of course, you have to pay for the overdue muna before we could proceed with the new loan. And then, next qualification is that you have a new or existing business. Hindi po pwede yung mag-uumpisa pa lang. Dapat na-establish na yung business. Halimbawa ngayon, last month lang, na-establish na, or way back 10 years ago, you are eligible to avail the Angat Kabuhayan program. And then the next one is you have to have a co-maker. Ang co-maker, ano po ba ang role ng co-maker? Kailangan kasi maintindihan din ng applicant at ng co-maker kung para saan ba talaga ang co-maker. Ang co-maker po, siya ang mag-a-assume ng balance. Siya ang mag-a-assume ng utang kapag yung nag-utang ay hindi na makakabayad. Dun po sa application form natin for co-maker, kailangan pong inotaryo yun kasi yun po ay isang kontrata. So, that's why yung nilalagay po natin na, or nire-require natin co-maker, hindi parte ng pamilya ng aplikante. Kasi, syempre, kung asawa mo yung ilalagay mo doon, natural, since conjugal, though hindi na ipapasa ang utang, it's just that yung responsibility ng asawa, ng mag-asawa, ay isa lang pagdating sa utang. Next slide, please. Okay. So, pagdating naman po sa groups or cooperatives, at least 70% of the cooperatives members are residents of the city. May mga certain po kasing mga kooperatiba, for example, ang Piston, we have Villa Marilac, we have Nasilgaya of City Hall or Nasemco of City Hall. Kailangan po at least 70% ng population ng miyembro ng kooperatiba ay residents ng Naga City. Okay? So, next slide please. Ayan. So, ito po yung mga requirements natin kung mag-a-apply tayo ng loan. No? The first one is, of course, the application or aplikasyon sa pag-utang. If you will notice po sa application forms natin, lahat po na nakalagay doon Tagalog. We did not put it in English or in Bicol kasi hindi lahat ng beneficiaries could understand English, and not everyone could understand Bicol. So we put it in Tagalog para naiintindihan po ng lahat. So though may nai-encounter po tayo na medyo nahihirapan sa Tagalog kasi masanay sila sa English, pero most ng beneficiaries po natin, mas naiintindihan po nila yung Tagalog. So, wag po tayong malito. No? The application forms L1 and L1B, back-to-back po yan. They are available, I think, in Naga City Government page, formerly known as the Naga Smiles page and the City Government of Naga pages. Also, available po yan sa office natin. Right now, since because of the pandemic, because of the increasing number of positive cases in City Hall, hindi po na kami nagpapapasok sa loob ng opisina namin. However, meron po tayong frontliners. You could just look for Mr. Sander Beloro, or you could also look for Mr. Patrick. Nakalimutan ko ang apelido si Patrick, but it's Patrick. Yung kalbo po yan. No? Ako po kasi, since I'm the section head, medyo nasa dulo po yung lamesa ko. And right now, I am on home quarantine. So, hindi pa po ako pumapasok sa office for a week now. Hopefully, by next week, makapasok na po ako. And by the time na makapasok na po ako sa office, hopefully, magstay din po ako dun sa front para na-i-explain po natin further ang programs natin. No? So, the next requirement is a photocopy ng government-issued IDs. So, may naalala po ako, ito lang, may nagtanong sa akin kung ano-ano daw ba ang mga government IDs. So, niloko ko siya. Sabi ko sa kanya, so ano po ba ang mga government agencies? So, yun, tumawa siya ng tumawa. So, siya na yun nag-enumerate sa akin that there are ang allowed are passports, GSIS, SSS, Pag-ibig, PhilHealth, driver's license, postal ID. We also have the BIR and COMELEC. Pero dapat po, yung nakalagay na address natin sa government-issued IDs are, ang nakalagay dapat is Naga City. Kasi ito po, if we go back to the eligibility, you have to be a resident of Naga City. Yun po yung unang-una nating requirement. So, kailangan patunayan ninyo sa amin na that you are really residents of Naga, and we could confirm that, we could affirm it through the IDs that you're going to submit to us. Okay? Next requirement is 2 pieces of 1.5 by 1.5 picture, latest and colored picture. Kasi po, baka kasi mamaya nakakasalubong ko na po pala kayo, tapos hindi ko man lamang alam na, dito na pala yung nag-loan sa atin. Of course, we need to know kung anong itsura po nung nanghihiram sa atin. And also, ina-attach po kasi natin yan sa mga documents, kasi may, yung proseso po kasi natin, hindi lang ito isang opisina, hindi lang po ito opisina namin, but also there are other offices like the City Budget Office, City Accounting, COA, City Treasurer's Office, and some of these offices are requiring the pictures, but we're only asking for 2 pieces. Okay? May nagpapa-shout out po. Hello po. The next one, the next requirement is the barangay business permit. Kung ang uutangin po ninyo ay less than 5,000, ang request lang po, or ang requirement lang is barangay business permit. Normally po kasi, for the first loan, pagbaguhan po kayo, ang ina-allow lang namin, ang ina-approve lang namin is 2,500. Again, this is not just, this Angat Kabuhayan program is really for the small enterprises, yung mga sari-sari store. So, the minimum is 2,500, and maximum is 5,000. Then, you need to submit to us the barangay business permit. However, there are instances po, kung kailangan talaga ng more than 5,000 yung uutangin, kasi additional capital po tayo, nagre-require na po tayo ng mayor's permit kapag ang uutangin ay 5,000 and above. Kasi yan po yung requirement sa atin ni COA, no? So again, there are instances na yung first loan po is more than 5,000. Pag more than 10,000 na po tayo, usually nagre-request po kami ng post-dated checks. Alright? So next slide, please. Okay. Ito naman po yung co-maker, these are the requirements for the co-maker. Again, as I have mentioned earlier, yung co-maker po natin will assume the responsibility of the applicant, of the maker, if the maker is not able to finish the contract. No? So, mamaya po explain ko yung mga maximum. So, yung application form ng co-maker, nakalagay na po dyan yung, of course, personal information. And then, at the bottom part po kasi ng co-maker natin, yung new form po namin, meron na pong nakalagay doon na contract na kailangan ipanotaryos ng applicant before we could approve. No? And also, required din po na magkaroon ng photocopy ng ID, ng government-issued ID ng co-maker, and pictures, and barangay clearance. Since hindi naman po, wala naman mayor's permit ay pwede i-submit si co-maker kasi hindi naman talaga siya yung mangungutang, and hindi naman required na mayroong business si co-maker, barangay clearance lang po yung kailangan natin. So, next slide, please. Okay. So, meron po ba dito mga cooperatives? Or wala naman? Okay. So, ito po yung mga requirements natin for cooperatives or groups. Halimbawa, once again, katulad ng mga cooperatives or Piston, Nasilveya, gano'n. So, they still need to fill out the form. Oh, sorry. Yung palang application form ng co-maker, it's also available on Naga City government page. Usually naka-attach po siya doon sa L1 and L1B. No? So it's also available in our office. Ano na po yan? Isang set na po sila. No? And then for cooperatives, kailangan din nilang mag-submit ng financial statement, official receipts, certificate of registration, yung kanilang bylaws, and list of officers and members, and then board resolution tungkol po doon sa pag-utang nila. Then affidavit of undertaking, list of beneficiaries, and then accreditation galing po sa Sangguniang Panglungsod. So ito po mga requirements na ito po yung hinihingi sa atin ni COA, Commission on Audit. Okay? So, next slide, please. Okay. So, for the angkat kabuhayan terms, interest, and penalty, the loan term depends on the project or on the basis. So, meron po tayong inaalaw na tatlong klasifikasyon ng pag-utang. So, we have three kinds of projects. The first one, ito na po yung mga small businesses like sari-sari store, retail, yung mga talyer, junk shop, gano'n. Those are considered dyan po sa first part natin. Ang pagbayad naman po nila, it's automatic po, divided into 3 months. And then, ang pagbayad po nila niyan, monthly. No? So, kung halimbawa, uutang ka ng 3,000, 3,000 plus the interest divided by 3, so ang babayaran mo for the next 3 months, is 1,000 something, okay? Now, for farming and for farm inputs, it's lump sum po. Kasi hindi mo naman, kumbaga yung kita mo naman, hindi naman siya monthly, but rather kumbaga, isahan din yung pagpasok sa ano natin, ng pera sa ating beneficiary. So, we are giving them 4 months to pay for the loan. And then for the agri-based projects, katulad po ng livestock, katulad ng piggery, ang allowed po natin dyan is 6 months lump sum din po. No? So again, for retails, for the small businesses like sari-sari store, 3 months installment. For farming or farm inputs like corn, rice, ang allowed po natin dyan 4 months and it's lump sum. For agri-based projects like piggery and livestock, that's 6 months lump sum. For cooperatives, it's also standard. It's for 12 months and it's monthly. And we request for post-dated checks for the entire year. Okay. So next slide, please. Okay. So ito po yung example natin. Kung halimbawa, for retail ka, or sari-sari store ka, or junk shop, or yung normal natin na loan. Again, we have 1% interest per month and 2% penalty per month based on the amount due. So, kunwari, ang utang mo is 25,000. 25,000 times 1% times, 25,000 divided by 3 months plus the 1% of the 25,000. So, ang interest po niyan is 250 pesos per month. So, 250 times 3 months, that's 750. So, yung, and then, again, yung 25,000 divided by 3 months, you will have, plus the 250, that's 8,583.33. So, ang total po natin, yung 25,000 na inutang nyo, plus the interest of 750. As you can see there also, ang penalty po natin is 500 pesos per month na hindi na bayaran. So, ang computation po niyan, it's 25,000 times 2%. Alright? And then, next slide please. Okay, ito naman po yung computation natin. Sample natin for crops. In this case, it's corn production. As I have mentioned earlier, ang term po natin dyan is 4 months lump sum. So 25,000 times 1% is 250 pesos times 4 months. So a total of 1,000 pesos. So 1,000 plus a 25,000 principal, it's equivalent to 26,000. So yan po yung babayaran after 4 months. Okay, so again, the penalty is 500 because that's 25,000 times 2% per unpaid month. Okay, so kung halimbawa, kung buwan ka na kung hindi nakakabayad, so ang penalty po yan is 500 times 3 months. Plus the interest po doon sa na-incur ninyo. Na kasi, since nag-extend kayo ng 3 months, so it's additional 3 months of the 1%. Okay? So next slide, please. Okay. So we have a piggery naman po. Again, it's for 6 months. As you can see, so it's the same computation po. 25,000 times 1% times 6 months. So that is the amount po. No? So again, it's lump sum. Next slide, please. The same thing din po sa ating cooperative. So it's a 25,000 times 1% times 12 months. So yan po yung ating magiging computation. No? So again, as I have mentioned earlier, we are requiring post-dated checks pag medyo malaki na po yung utang natin. And for cooperatives, it's mandatory. All right? Next slide, please. Okay. So our next topic is the business stimulus program. Ito na po yung bago, or this is temporary. This is to help our friends, our residents dito sa Naga na medyo namong problema tayo. Actually, I have a lot of friends na medyo talagang kinakailangan nila. Kaya it's a good move from the LGU to have this kind of project. So ano po ba ang purpose ng BSP? Again, it's to help qualified small businesses survive the economic slowdown caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. As I mentioned, this is temporary and ito po ay hiwalay doon sa Angat Kabuhayan project natin. Pero hindi ibig sabihin na separate program sila, exempted ka na doon sa regular program natin na Angat Kabuhayan. So, ibig sabihin, kung may utang po kayo sa Metro Peso because of the regular Angat Kabuhayan, then of course, you have to pay for that before you can qualify for the BSP. Ngayon, the reason that I explained the Angat Kabuhayan, kasi po, pag hindi po kayo pasok dito sa BSP, meron po tayong Plan B, which is the regular program, Angat Kabuhayan. Next slide, please. Okay. So, dito po tayo sa eligibility, medyo nagkakatalo. Dito po tayo usually nagkakaroon ng problema. Kasi, marami po sa atin ang marami sa atin ang nawalan ng trabaho. Merong maraming mga disoriented. Yung mga friends ko po from the events, mga event organizers, fashion designers, couturier, makeup artists, nawalan po sila talaga ng kabuhayan kasi bawal po ang events ngayon. So parang nag-diverse sila into online selling. Unfortunately, hindi po sila allowed. Hindi sila qualified dito sa ating business stimulus program because ang the number one rule that we need to consider is that the business is operating already before pa po nitong pandemic. No? So, ang next question kasi po palagi sa akin, kailan ba talaga nag-start yung pandemic? Kasi merong mga businesses na nag-start prior po ng yung enhanced quarantine natin, nag-lockdown ang buong Pilipinas. And I think that was March 15 or 16. And nag-start naman siya ng business niya was around February. Unfortunately po, the pandemic started in 2019. Hindi man tayo affected that much way back in 2019, pero it is considered already as a pandemic and we need the business to be operating before that. No? Kaya po ang next po natin na in connection with the first eligibility, we need the 2020 Mayor's Permit. Ang kailangan pong nakalagay doon sa lower right is renew. Kasi ito po ay patunay na yung business po ninyo is already existing prior to the COVID-19. And then another eligibility, you need to have at least one employee na resident po ng Naga. No? Meron po tayong mga businesses na magkatuwang, yung mag-asawa, or tumutulong yung mga anak nila. Unfortunately, they are not considered as employees based po dito sa city ordinance. No? So, kailangan po ang residents na or employee and also residents of Naga na nakalagay sa listahan natin are not members of the family. No? Bakit? Hindi lang po kasi natin tinutulungan yung mga small businesses, but we are also helping other residents of Naga. No? Kasi hirap din po sila. So kailangan po natin masiguro na at the end of the day, meron pa rin silang trabaho. No? So the next one is that enterprises engage in wholesale or retail, food and tourism services, fabrication, and production activities that are registered in the city of Naga with an asset not exceeding 3 million pesos. No? I think BTI or other agencies, meron silang parang tinatawag na yung bracket ng asset para matawag silang small or micro or macro enterprises. But for the benefit of the city ordinance, ang ginawa po nila, at hindi mag-exceed dapat ng 3 million pesos yung asset. No? And then you must not have availed similar programs from other governments or private institutions. I believe BPI also have a similar program such as this. I'm not sure lang po sa ibang agencies, but kapag naka-avail na po kayo sa iba, hindi na po allowed dito sa atin. Isa-isa lang po. So, kailangan natin mabigyan ng chance, kung kaya ang lahat ng taga-Naga, mabigyan ng chance matulungan, we would like to give it to them. No? So, dito po sa eligibility natin, everything is going to be checked. Medyo strict po tayo pagdating sa documents, pagdating sa proseso, kasi we must understand that this is a 0% interest program. So, parang 0% na nga eh. So, sumunod tayo sa patakaran and we have to be strict about it. Okay? So, next slide, please. Okay. So, as I have mentioned, it's a 0% interest. However, it is payable in 1 year. Okay? So, kanina, meron tayong pinakita yung sari-sari store, livestock, agriculture, meron 3 months to pay, may lump sum for 6 and 4 months. Ito pong business stimulus program natin. This is payable in 1 year. No? Yan po yung nakalagay sa ordinansa natin. So, kahit magkano ang utang mo, whether it's small or big, you can pay that for 1 year. No? Pero syempre, kung maliit lang naman yung utang natin, like mga, sabihin natin 25,000, and if you can pay that in 3 months or in 6 months, then much better. Kasi at least naibalik na natin sa city yung fund. Kasi ano din po kami sa office namin, sa section natin, iniikot ko din lang po yung funding. So, kung may nagbayad po sa atin, at least may madadagdagan po tayo, mapapahiram natin. No? So, when is the payment, the first payment is going to start? Dalawang options po tayo. No? The first one is 1 month after the lifting of nationally imposed community quarantine. Once everything is fine, wala na tayong pandemic, lifted na lahat. So, ang start po ng bayad mo niyan is 1 month after that. So, halimbawa, sana by December, wala na tayong pandemic and na-lift na ang community quarantine natin. So, the first payment po natin, it's going to be on January. Okay? Or, it could be 6 months after the release of the loan checks, of the release date ng check. No? So kung halimbawa, nangutang kayo ngayon, today is September 3. So 6 months from September 3 is September, October, November, December, January, February, March. So March 3, pagbabayad na po kayo. Whether lifted or hindi yung community quarantine, yan na po yung first payment natin. Again, whichever comes first, 2 choices tayo. The first one, 1 month after the lifting of the community enhanced quarantine, or 6 months from the release date of the check. Okay. Now, this is a reminder for everybody that in case of default in any of the scheduled amortization, a 1% penalty per month shall be imposed based on the amount due. I hope you understand, wala na nga po tayong it's 0% na nga po. So we have to implement a penalty for non-payment. No? Again, as I mentioned earlier, 1 year to pay po to. So after sabihin na natin after 6 months, and then we have the entire 1 year, 12 months to pay for your loan. Tapos after 12 months, hindi pa po kayo nakabayad. I think it is just proper that we impose a penalty for that. Okay? So I think it's a win-win situation. Right? Next slide, please. Okay. So ito po yung bracket natin pagdating sa amount na pwede nating hiramin, na pwede nating i-loan. No? So, if you have one worker, again, lahat po ng workers na pag-uusapan natin sa slide na to, they should all be residents of Naga City. No? So if we have one worker, ang loan po natin dyan is from 10,000 to 25,000. Okay, so yung nagtatanong po kanina, ang maximum po, if you have one employee, maximum is 25,000. Minimum is 10,000. Okay, so 10,000 to 25, one worker. If you have two workers, maximum po natin is 50,000, 50. If you have 3 workers, that's maximum of 75,000. And if you have more than 3 workers, maximum po natin dyan is 100,000. So, even po doon sa angat kabuhayan natin, ang maximum din po natin doon is 100,000 unless na lang matagal ka na naming kliyente, depende din sa budget natin kung meron pa, we allow more than 100,000 doon sa angat kabuhayan. But for the business stimulus program, since this is temporary and we have a city ordinance for this, ito lang po yung bracket natin. No more, no less. So, ulitin lang po natin, for one worker, 10,000 to 25,000. 2 workers, maximum of 50,000. 3 workers, maximum of 75,000. If you have more than 3 workers, ibig sabihin, meron kayong 4, 5, 6, 10, even if you have 100 employees, ang maximum lang po natin dyan is 100,000. Alright? Next slide, please. Okay. So, para saan ang business stimulus program? It's also for technical and marketing assistance as needed by the enterprise to enable it to adapt to prevailing quarantine conditions or to the new normal. No? So aside po doon sa pagpapaloan natin, may mga nakakausap din po kasi tayo talaga na medyo hirap na sila on what they need to do with their business. Ako po, I'm a graduate of marketing management in Ateneo de Naga University. I may not be an expert on marketing, but I know about marketing, and I've been in the industry for quite a while already. I'm into rebranding. I'm into strategizing. I'm into favorite ko po ang marketing. So if you have time po, if you go to our office, pag may humihingi po sa atin ng input pagdating po sa kanilang business, nagbibigay naman po tayo. And that's part of the business stimulus program. And it has always been part of the responsibility of the Enterprise Development Center of our section. No? Next slide, please. Okay. So, ito na po yung mga dokumento na kailangan i-submit. Pareho po doon sa angat kabuhayan, may konting changes lang po tayo, kami doon sa form natin. So, kailangan po ninyong i-submit yung forms L1 and L1B. That's for the applicant or for the maker. And L2 for the co-maker. And then, again, 2 pieces of the latest picture. It should be colored. Kasi baka mamaya po, Kasi pag black and white, hindi natin alam kung maputi ka or hindi. So we need colored. Hindi naman for discriminating your skin color, but at least alam po natin kung ano yung totoo. Kung ano yung totoo mong itsura. No? So the next requirement po natin, photocopy lang po ng valid 2020 mayor's permit. As I have mentioned earlier, kailangan po ang nakalagay natin sa mayor's permit is renew. No? Meron po tayong mga na-encounter, may mga nagsasubmit po sa atin ng mayor's permit, pero may nakalagay doon na hanggang March lang sila, hanggang March of 2020 lang sila. But they were able to provide certification from various na offices or agencies. Bakit po merong mga mayor's permit na hanggang February lang, hanggang March lang, ganon? Ibig sabihin po kasi noon, meron lang silang problema pagdating or meron silang hindi na submit na documents. We will allow that, we will accept that so long as napatunayan po ninyo sa amin na yung mayor's permit ninyo is going to be renewed until December 31 of 2020. No? So, katulad po doon sa Angat Kabuhayan, kailangan po natin ng valid government issued IDs. So, ulitin po natin, we have SSS, Pag-ibig, PhilHealth, BIR, COMELEC. Ang importante po dito, ang issue, yung ID na binigay sa inyo, ang nag-issue po nun is the national government. And nakalagay po doon, importante po na ang address ninyo sa isasubmit ninyong ID ay from Naga City. Alright? And then for the co-maker, kailangan po nila ng barangay clearance. Next slide, please. Okay. Ito po, medyo, you may call it supporting documentary requirements, pero it's actually a requirement. No? So, medyo crucial po tayo sa part na ito. Kailangan pong isubmit ang ID ng employee. Doon po kasi sa application form, sa bottom part, kailangan po ninyong i-indicate doon kung sino-sino yung mga empleyado ninyo, mga empleyado ninyo, and again, kailangan po residents po sila ng Naga. No? Kasi as I have mentioned before, earlier, yung maximum po na uutangin ninyo, nakadepende rin po yun kung ilan yung empleyado ninyo. No? So kung ang ilo-loan ninyo is maximum of 50,000, so yung ililista po ninyo doon sa form natin, dalawa lang. Dalawang empleyado, again, residents of Naga City. And for us to be able to validate na talaga sila ay residents of Naga City, you have to submit to us valid government issued ID noong dalawang empleyado. And again, nakalagay po dapat doon na ang address po nila ay Naga City. No? Also, ito, hindi po to required, pero kung meron, much better. Kailangan po natin ng payroll ng mga nakalistang empleyado. And then, ito din po, better kung meron kayong pruweba na yung nilista po natin na empleyado ay kailangan natin ng proof na sila talaga ay employee ng inyong business. Bakit? Kasi part po ng city ordinance, again, this is not just for businessmen. This hindi lang po to para sa mga business. Ito rin po ay para din sa mga residents natin dito sa Naga. So, kailangan natin i-secure na yung empleyado ninyo will still be there. That at the end of the day, may trabaho pa rin sila. No? So, it's in the city ordinance that you need to keep your employees. So, hindi po pwede na just for the sake of applying for this particular program, may kukunin ka na, halika, gawin kitang empleyado, submit tayo, ganyan-ganyan. As after a month or 2 months, niligwak mo na. hindi po pwede yun. It's going to be demandable, due and demandable, yung niloan natin. No? Unless na lang, of course, kung valid talaga yung reason. Halimbawa, nagnakaw, or may health issues yung empleyado, of course, pwede natin yung palitan. Pero kailangan po natin yan mapatunayan and kailangan po natin dyan ng, it's still subject for approval ng board. Okay? Next slide, please. Okay. So ito po yung proseso natin. Metro Peso po kasi yung secretariat. No? So upon submission ng application form, automatic po pinapa-CI natin. The same thing with our Angat Kabahayan. Lahat po ng applications natin ay nag-undergo ng credit investigation. Hindi po ninyo kailangan na nandoon kayo sa lugar on the day ng mag-investigate yung CI natin. No? Kasi usually po nagpe-prepare tayo, pinapaganda natin, yung ganon. Hindi po namin kailangan na nandoon kayo. No? It's also a surprise. It's a random schedule. Hindi po namin sa inyo pwedeng sabihin kung kailan po mag-check. Doon po sa application form sa likod, nakalagay po doon, kailangan yung sketch yung address ng business ninyo. Better din po kung nandoon din yung home address ninyo kasi para din ma-check natin if you really are capable of paying for dun sa ilo-loan ninyo, no? After po natin ma-CI, sa akin na po pupunta yon for checking kung okay na ba ang documents natin, okay na ba yung forms natin, na-fill upon ba silang lahat fully and complete, kung may problema pa. Dito po tayo usually, itong stage na to, tayo usually nagkakaroon ng medyo mahaba-habang proseso. Kasi meron po tayo dyan babalik kasi kulang yung documents, babalik kasi may mali, dyan po tayo natatagalan. But basically po, we're only given 4 days to approve everything. Kaya lang, as I have mentioned, meron pong pagkakataon na si client mismo matagal i-follow up yung or isunod yung dokumentong natitira, no? So, kung mas mabilis po tayo sa pagkumpleto ng documents natin, mas mabilis po tayong masi-CI. And once ma-CI, mas mabilis ko pong ma-approve, no? I-clarify ko rin lang po doon sa eligibility natin kanina, yung you should be operating prior to the COVID and yung employees po natin. Kailangan po magtugma yung sinamit ninyong impormasyon sa pagkuha ng mayor's permit. Kailangan magtugma siya sa City Treasurer's Office and kailangan magtugma siya sa application form na sinabit ninyo sa amin. No? Kaya po it's crucial na kung sino po yung inilagay ninyong or kung ilan empleyado yung sinamit ninyo sa mayor's pagkuha ninyo ng mayor's permit, it's the same thing. It's the same information that we should be getting. Kasi like what I've mentioned earlier, baka mamaya may hinila ka lang dyan sa labas ninyo to act as a employee. Pero doon sa mayor's permit, hindi naman siya declared. So, hindi po natin i-allow yan. Alright? Why are we strict with that? Again, it's 0% interest. Basically, hindi naman sa pag-ano, pero it's basically pamigay natin. No? So, next slide, please. Okay. Ito na pa rin na-discuss ko kanina. So, after ng CI natin, it's my approval. After my approval, for signature and for approval also of my boss, Mr. Jun Mongoso. After po niyan, pag kumpleto na lahat, pag alam na namin na it's perfect, it's for approval, kailangan ng ma-check, mabigyan ito ng check, we have two options. Kapag below 25,000 po yung loan, isasend lang po namin yun sa GC namin, sa group chat, ng members ng board. Mr. Jiman is part of that. Ma'am Edna Tejada is part of that. And of course, Councilor Joe Perez, who is the author of the Business Stimulus Program Ordinance. And also we have Mr. Ferdinand Shah of the Metro Naga Chamber of Commerce. We have Ma'am Liza Mapa for the Naga City People's Council, Mr. Mon Florendo. So basically marami po tayong members sa board. So pag-submit po natin sa GC, pag less than 25,000, they could just say, okay, let's approve it. Pag more than 25,000, it's the same thing. We are going to submit the forms sa GC natin, and then we are going to conduct a meeting for the approval. So basically, ito po madali lang po to. Kasi lahat naman po ng members sa board are always available. All right? Next slide, please. Okay. So after po ma-approve ng board, kung magkano yung talagang ilo-loan natin, it will be the next step is going to be the approval of the mayor. And dapat po ma-approve ni mayor within 2 days. And then after po niyan, ibabalik po sa atin yung papeles, yung mga dokumento, and we are going to prepare the voucher. We are to prepare the necessary documents, and then pasok na po yan sa accounting. From accounting, pasok na po yan sa treasurer's office. And then treasurer's office is going to update us kung meron ng check. We already have sent a letter to the city treasurer's office and to the accounting office para matugunan nila that this is should be a fast-paced process. So meron na po silang mga tao din na mag-assist sa atin that this particular application or the application for the business stimulus program, it's urgent. So kailangan po natin itong madaliin. No? So next slide, please. Okay. So Metro Peso will periodically monitor the recipient. No? So same thing po sa Angat Kabuhayan program natin. Nagmo-monitor po tayo ng ating mga beneficiaries. No? So kung halimbawa, it's also a spot check. No, hindi po kami mag-a-announce sa inyo, uy, punta kami dyan, check natin, ginastos mo ba yung pera doon sa business mo? Gumagana ba? May problema pa? So, hindi po namin yan i-announce sa inyo. No? Ako po, normally, nakita na ninyo ako. So, baka pag nakita ninyo ako sa business ninyo, bigla kayo mag-ayos. Pero ako po kasi normally, bumibisita din po ako as a customer. Hindi po ako yung pupunta na, bakit hindi mo binili yung ganito? Bakit hindi mo dinagdag dito yung pera? Ganon. I don't normally do that. When I spot check, tinitingnan ko lang po talaga. Ina-avail ko yung business. Kung halimbawa, kinalasan ka, kakain po ako ng kinalas as a customer, hindi kita kakausapin, hindi ako magaganon-ganon. Ano to, ganyan. No, I don't do that po. Pero, kailangan kong ma-check. Kasi kung halimbawa, kasi this is supposed to be for additional capital eh. So, pag nagkausap tayo, during your application form, sinabi mo kasi kailangan kong dagdagan yung ganito, ganyan, kasi kailangan kong mag-extend ng ganito, ganyan. So, after 2 or 3 months, pag pumunta ako sa'yo, tapos wala naman na hindi ka naman talaga nag-expand, ibig sabihin, hindi mo ginamit doon yung niloan mo. So, hindi ka nag-follow doon sa napag-usapan natin. No? So, ibig sabihin nun, it's going to be a valid violation. Ibig sabihin, it could be subject for immediate payment. Ano? hindi naman po kami strict pagdating dyan. We're also being lenient kasi baka may mga emergency na mas kailangan unahin yung ganito, mas kailangan ayusin yung ganito, mas kailangan dagdagan yung ingredients, yung products, yung ganon. So, we may not be lenient on that. Ano po? Next slide, please. Ayan. So, yan po yung 2 programs ng Metro Peso Naga, Angat Kabuhayan. 1% interest, 2% penalty. We have the temporary program, the business stimulus program, 0% interest, but 1% penalty. Do you have any questions po?
Ako ma'am, may
thank you
question po.
Okay, may question daw po, Miss BJ.
Yes po.
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Ma'am, regarding dun sa government ID, na sabi niyo dapat ang eligible is residents ng Naga. Actually, ma'am, I'm just here in Naga for 3 years and because I have opened the business at actually naging partner po ako ng business dito for the longest time kahit nasa ibang lugar pa ako. Now, the ID that I have submitted before is my driving license which I have taken beforehand me coming to Naga. So, paano po, but then all my residence address, my business address are all in Naga. So, ano po ay magiging point doon? Is it still, valid pa rin po ba yun? It can still be acceptable?
Miss BJ,
Ma'am, hindi ko po marinig. Okay.
Okay. Yes po ma'am, we are going to accept that. So long as po yung nakalagay natin na pangalan sa mayor's permit, pangalan po ninyo.
Okay. One more thing, ma'am. Actually, ma'am, I have 7 staff with me right now. However, yung dalawa doon is from Libuton, but they are staying in Naga in the boarding house for the past 3 years na rin. So, is it also valid for them? Kasi ang sinadbit po naming nila is yung BIR number po nila. BIR ID nila. Kasi yung ID nila yung ID po kasi nila sa company ko is previously from the other branch. Ma'am, actually, if you know, the Kitchen Everywhere, dati po sila sa Kitchen Everywhere na staff namin. And then however, we closed po yung Kitchen Everywhere ng Mayon at transfer ko po sila sa Peña Francia branch. Kasi po yung mga dati kong empleyado sa Peña Francia, they are from Panikwason and during po the pandemic na wala po silang way to come to work for the longest time. So, hindi na po sila bumalik to work. So, is it valid po yung sinabit kong mga documents?
So long as po yung nakalagay sa address nila, sa ID nila, Naga City. So, kung nag-transfer man sila from different branches, basta yung nakatira sila sa Naga City, they are residing in Naga City, it is reflected on the ID that they are from Naga City, then it's acceptable po.
Last question, ma'am. Actually, kasi I have notes here. Sabi niyo po kasi, ma'am, during those sa loan, may co-worker na kami. Ay, co-maker. Sorry po, kasi first time ko mag-loan. Co-maker po. Now, how come po, ma'am, nagre-require pa kayo ng post-dated checks sa amin? The fact if the co-maker is like a contract between you and them at ipapa-authenticate pa, ipapa-notarize nyo pa, so it's already a valid and void documents na po. How come po magre-require pa kayo ng post-dated check if it is applicable for us? Yun lang po.
Post-dated check po, nire-require po natin yan doon sa Angat Kabuhayan program, doon sa regular program natin. But for this 0% for the business stimulus program, hindi po tayo nagre-require. Nagre-require po tayo ng PDC for the Angat Kabuhayan is simply because we would like to make sure that there is going to be a payment on the succeeding months. So yun lang po yan. But for the business stimulus program, hindi po kailangan.
Yes, ma'am. Now I realize, it's crazy question, ma'am. Kasi now I realize, kasi may existing location kami compared doon sa kanila na piggery and everything. Yeah, nakuha ko na, ma'am. Thank you po. Thank you.
Okay po. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Next
much, ma'am,
question.
for the question. Any questions po from our participants? Any clarification regarding sa application niyo po with the business? Okay, while waiting, Miss BJ, I have a few clarification para mas malinaw sa kanila. Ano po? Regarding din sa
Okay,
question po
okay.
ni ma'am with the ID, medyo nag-take note din ako earlier kasi there are businesses talaga na ang owner, kunyari, for example, recently opened his business or her business in Naga, pero yung ID niya pa is, for example, Kanakman, pero they are already residing in Naga for about 1 year.
Yeah.
Ano po ang magiging proof nila or will they be acknowledged na residing na sa Naga City?
Yes. The additional document that we will be requiring for that is barangay certification or of residence. Na kasi we simply need a proof that you are already residing in Naga City. So yun lang yan.
Okay po. That goes then with the employer, Miss BJ. Ano po?
Yes, yes.
Thank you, Miss BJ. Okay, any other question po from our participants? Other clarifications regarding, kasi ako marami akong clarification. Abang wala pa pong nagtatanong. Sige po, go
May
ahead.
additional lang ako. I forgot to mention this earlier. Kasi yung nakita ko kanina, from one of our participants, kilala ko kasi. And she has more than one business or branch. Tatlo yung branches niya, lahat yon may tigi-isang mayor's permit. And gusto niyang mag-apply for loan for 100 of each. No? Hindi po allowed yon. Kasi sa system namin, we could only have one name per account. So, kahit po tatlo po yung branches mo, kahit tatlo yung mayor's permit mo, lahat ito nakapangalan sa iyo, we can only allow 100,000 maximum.
Okay, thank you, Miss BJ, for that clarification. And I have a clarification po regard. Do we have a question po?
Hi.
Okay po, go ahead.
Hello ma'am, may tatanong lang po ako. Applicable po ba makapag-loan ng halimbawa online tutorial ang business ko?
Online tutorial.
Nagrarun na siya ng 3 years. 3 years na ang business ko.
It's actually considered as the education sector.
Yes,
Kung if you are going to go back dun sa slide natin, kung ano ba yung allowed na business, hindi po kasali ang education sector for the business stimulus program. But for the Angat Kabuhayan program, yung regular po natin, pwede po yun.
Sa regular. Yung
Sa
walang
regular.
interest. Yung walang interest.
Yung merong interest.
Yung may interest. Pero maliit lang na halaga.
1%
okay.
po.
Okay. Sige, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any question po from our participants? Any more question? Para while waiting, I can ask muna po, Miss BJ. Miss BJ, regarding with the mayor's permit for the information of everyone, yung mayor's permit po natin, since it must be indicating renewed, for example, hindi naman po ito meaning 1 year in operation. Like for example, kumuha sila ng mayor's permit September, that would be valid. Okay.
Yes. So long as nakalagay doon sa permit natin, renew, it's good for us. Parang it's already proof enough for us that you've been operating prior to COVID.
Okay po. Thank you. We have a question from Lyndon Pelonio. How about po yung construction business? Can we acquire the loan and how much is the maximum?
Again, if we go back po doon sa coverage itong business stimulus program, hindi po kasali ang construction business. But doon po sa regular program natin, yung Angat Kabuhayan, we have clients po na who are in the construction business, allowed po tayo doon.
Okay. Another question po from Mr. Erwin Revilla. Hello po. How about po, ma'am, ang business ko ay online meat products po. Makaka-avail po ba ng loan?
Online meat products.
Yes po. Meat products.
Okay. Meat products allowed po yun. It's just that kung online, may mayor's permit po ba? Kung meron mayor's permit then you are allowed.
Okay. So, okay lang ma'am na online as long as meron silang mayor's permit. Like, nowadays, di ba, uso na yung online?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Then kay Sir Lyndon, pagdating po dun sa sa Angat Kabuhayan for the construction, maximum po natin is 100,000. But we have clients who's been with us for more than 10 years. Inaalaw na po namin sila to have more than 100,000 loan. But if you're new, we have to start po sa medyo mababang amount.
Okay, we have a clarification po earlier from yung nagtanong po about regarding sa online tutorial. Why daw po hindi sila allowed ang online tutorial kasi effective naman daw po sila with the COVID-19?
Okay. Jiman, could you go back dun sa slide?
Sige po.
Doon sa under business stimulus program.
Okay, wait for a while po.
Okay. Sorry, wala kasi ako sa office. I don't have my notes.
It's okay po. Okay, I'll just share the screen po.
Okay.
At what part, Ms. DJ?
Sige, next na please. Next.
Back pa.
Next. Hindi ko nabasa. Sorry. First, umpisan mo sa first part.
Okay, Ms. PJ? Sige
Can
po.
you start sa first?
Okay, wait for...
Is it the first part? Okay. Hindi ko nababasa. Ang liit. Okay, next, please. Ayan. So, dyan po tayo sa 1, 2, 3, 4. Pang-apat po natin na bullet. Nakalagay po dyan, enterprises engaged in wholesale and retail trade, food and tourism services, fabrication and production activities that are registered in the City of Naga. Ang education po, wala po sa part na iyan. Construction, wala po sa part na yan. So, hindi po sila covered, hindi po sila eligible for the business stimulus program. However, hindi man po qualified, hindi man eligible for the BSP, we have the regular program. We have the Angat Kabuhayan program. Okay?
Okay, thank you, Ms. BJ. I'll stop sharing for the screen for a while. Okay. Now we have another question po from Ms. Eva Tayamora. Okay. Saan na po yun? For a while po
Okay.
Parang nawala. Ito na muna ma'am, from Miss Lucille. Internet shops po and IT solutions na business, or where would it fall po? How much is the maximum as well? And it will require co-maker.
Can you go back to the slide?
Sige pa. For a while.
Okay. So again po, ang kailangan po natin, wholesale and retail. Computer shops, wala po siya sa ating enterprises na allowed. Hindi po siya food. It's not part of the tourism industry. It's not fabrication. It's not production. So I'm sorry, hindi po siya considered. But again, we have the Angat Kabuhayan program.
Okay. Another question po, just to clarify, di man necessarily bonafide ang borrower basta makapresent lang yung barangay clearance na residing for a year already, Naga.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Yung question niyo po ata is regarding sa barangay clearance po. Okay lang po ba na hindi talaga siya resident from Naga pero may proof siya with the barangay clearance that residing na siya for over a year in Naga City?
Over a year in Naga. I think yes. I think makakalaw yun. So long as the proper documents are submitted.
Okay. So, may question lang po si Ma'am. Why daw po selected lang yung businesses na pwede makapag-avail ng ating loan program, which is the Business Stimulus Program?
That is because yun po yung yun yung laman ng city ordinance natin. Yun lang po yung included. Nakailang series din po kasi ng meetings, ng yung ating board. And ito po yung napag-usapan, ito po yung based doon sa napag-aralan nila. Kung lahat po tayo affected ng pandemic, but we have to consider, we have to prioritize. Yun po talagang medyo talagang hard hit ng COVID. Kung mapapansin po ninyo for the Business Stimulus Program, hindi po dito kasali ang farming, hindi po dito kasali ang livestock, ang piggery, hindi po sila kasali. Again, hindi natin dinidiscriminate, hindi natin sila isinasantabi kasi lahat po tayo affected. It just so happens na mas apektado po itong mga nakalagay dito sa ordinansang ito.
I think that goes with the ano rin po. If I may add lang po. Siguro ma'am, that's yung mga ganitong industry kasi are the front kumbaga businesses na nung nag-lockdown, most of them also have closed their shops and businesses. While others po kasi can operate, especially services, with our technology nowadays. So, ganun siguro po yung naging level. But nonetheless, they have their regular program naman po.
Yes. Again, if hindi po kayo eligible for the Business Stimulus Program, we have the regular program. It's the Angat Kabuhayan program. It's been operating since day one of Metro Peso. It's only 1% interest.
Kaso maliit lang.
Maliit lang po yung interest natin.
Maliit lang interest, pero maliit lang din ang i-avail. Oo. Halimbawa, mag-expand ka, paano siya makatulong yung 5,000 sa expansion?
That will depend po, ma'am. That will depend po sa credit investigation natin. Kasi like what I mentioned earlier, it's supposed to be maximum of 5,000, maximum 10,000 for new accounts. Pero may mga certain instances po tayo that we approve kung magkano yung kailanganin, kung magkano yung i-apply ng ating beneficiary. Pero everything is going to be based po sa investigation natin. Kasi kung alam naman natin na you will be able to pay the certain amount that you are applying for, so we will approve it po.
Okay, thank you. Kasi halimbawa kami, online tutorial, continue to nung pandemic pa, pero ngayon napaka-in-demand namin ngayon. Marami kaming applicants, kaya hindi naman kami maglulun kung hindi namin kailangan, di ba? Expansion ang kailangan namin. More than 500 applicants meron kami, mga teachers. Kaya kami, hindi rin naman pala kami pwede. For what kami dito?
Doon po tayo sa Angat Kabuhayan program, doon sa regular program natin. And if you have time po, ma'am, well, we really don't encourage people going to our office kasi we have to keep safe kami saka yung mga tao. But if you have time po, ma'am, you could visit us anytime. Pero next week pa po siguro ako nasa office.
Sige, bibisitahin kita, ma'am. Gusto ko i-discuss yung mga ganyang bagay kasi in-need kami ngayon. Marami kaming applicants na kailangan. Kaso kulang kami ng kapital. Start kicking kami hanggang itong pandemic na ito. Ngayon, maraming applicants na pumapasok sa amin. Hindi ko sila makater. Gawa ng kulang kami ng equipments. Sa isa na lang teacher, ang kailangan ko computer, headsets, kadami. Oo. Kaya hindi ka kasi si 5,000 na ipapaloan nyo. Saan lang yan makarating? Di ba?
Opo. Opo,
Kaya,
yes, I understand po. So if you have time po, ma'am, usap po tayo sa office.
sige po, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Okay
Okay,
po,
you're
we have
welcome.
another question po. Nag-PM po sa akin privately. How about the business po na di nakapag-renew ng mayor's permit for the past 2 years? Are they qualified po? Nakapag-renew naman po daw ng barangay and still currently paying tax.
Hindi naka-renew ng mayor's permit, pero
Yes.
naka-renew ng barangay permit.
Yes po.
Okay. That's actually a tawag dito, special
Case.
na situation. Oo, that's a special case. That will be subject for approval ng board. No? So on my part, I could accept it, I could sign it, I could approve it, but it will be subject for approval ng board po natin. Basta
Okay.
kailangan lang natin talaga mapatunayan bakit walang mayor's permit, bakit barangay clearance lang yung meron. We just need reasons. We just need valid reasons bakit ganun po yung naging sitwasyon. Kasi as I have mentioned earlier, kailangan po natin yung mayor's permit. But in that case, we might consider.
Okay, in addition to that, Ms. DJ, from Ma'am Glenda Culiao, those in the garments and printing services, are they qualified to avail loan po sa Angat Kabuhayan?
Yes, basically they're under fabrication and production. So yes, they're allowed po.
Okay, next question po. Ilang araw po bago marilisan kung sakali pong mag-a-apply?
Depende na po yan. As I have mentioned earlier, there are certain applicants na medyo kinakapos ng documents. So to follow, habang tumatagal po yung pag-submit, ay naku, malulubat ako. Habang tumatagal po yung pag-submit ng documents, mas tumatagal po yung pag-release ng check. Pero basically po, we are only given 4 days to check the proper documents, kompleto ba? Mag-CI, mag-check, kumbaga, i-check yung documents submitted with the documents and the data from the city treasurer's office. We only have 4 days for that. And then after 4 days, subject for approval ng board natin. It could be within the day. It could be in 2 days. After po niyan, balik sa amin. After po niyan ng board kay mayor, within 2 days, dapat approve ni mayor, dapat makabalik sa amin yung papers if approved na. And then, documents, pasok sa accounting, submit sa treasurer's office, and then you have the check. So, basically, that's roughly, mabilis na siguro ang 7 days. 7 working days.
Okay, thank you for that, Ms. BJ. Clarification, Ms. BJ, regarding the discussion. Na-mention po na yung pending, what I mean is kung meron silang other loans from other institutions, they are not allowed. What about yung mga nasa pending stage pa lang po? Kasi some of our clients na nag-attend dito have pending like loan approval from SB Corporation. Could they apply?
Yes, they could apply. We are going to accept that. Pero once na-approve na namin sa inyo, sa amin, sa part namin, na-approve na namin, yung other agencies din po kasi, I believe they also have the same rule that the clients or the beneficiaries could only apply for one program. So, pag nasabit na po sa amin, of course, we are going to tell our partners like BPI and the rest that this particular person has already applied for this particular program. So, syempre, doon maka-cancel out na siya.
Opo, kasi some clients kasi tend to apply for another loan kasi usually, parang pag hindi sila sigurado with the other one, yun, nag-a-apply sila for the other. Okay.
Correct. So, they're only for one. Sorry, go
Another
ahead.
question. Another question. Hindi ko pa naman po malulubat.
Hindi ko alam. Sige lang.
Hello, pwede kay Sir Jiman.
Sige po, ma'am. Yes po.
Question ko lang sa iyo, sir. Kasi nag-apply ako sa DTI.
Yes, ma'am.
Before last May. Until now wala pa rin reply.
Okay po. Ano yan, ma'am? Directly ka po nag-apply online?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Usually kasi, ma'am, yung sa amin kasing na-assist namin na clients, usually we have a list of updates regarding dun sa client natin. You can personally message na lang, ma'am, sa akin siguro. Titingnan ko, ma'am, kung nasa listahan ka, kung ano na pong development. Kasi usually po yung ibang clients, di ko lang po sure kung included doon yung mga hindi po namin na-assist, but under CAMSUR. So, titingnan ko po sa listahan kung nandoon po kayo. Just PM me, ma'am, your full name po para at least, or yung applicant po natin, para ma-check natin. Ma'am, okay po?
Saan kita i-message?
Dito na lang, ma'am, sa chat. Chat mo lang ako
chat.
privately.
Sir.
Okay po. Another question, Miss BJ, clarification lang po para for the information of everyone. Since we have mentioned na 1 year to pay po yung loan natin, it's either yung after ng lockdown or on the 6th month after na ma-releasean sila. Ang terms po ba nito is monthly or lump sum amount?
It's monthly. It's definitely monthly. We don't have lump sum for this particular program. Kasi yung lump sum natin, we only allow it for crops, for livestock. Hindi naman allowed ang livestock and farming with the business English program. So definitely monthly po yung magiging terms natin for the payment.
Okay, we have another question po from Michael Reyes. Paano po ang 2007 nag-operate ang business tapos ngayong February 2020, nagpalit kami ng business name and ownership? Pwede pa rin po bang makapag-avail?
Nakalagay ba doon sa business permit na new or renew?
Okay, Sir Michael, can you respond po? Pwede pong microphone or chat po? New daw po, new.
Okay, so nakalagay na doon sa business permit is new. Can you just attach yung old na mayor's permit and also yung if you have certification that you requested for a change name as an attachment. Then isasubmit natin yan sa board for approval.
Okay. Na-answer na ba, sir, yung ano mo? Okay na daw, ma'am. Thank you daw po.
Okay. Okay.
Doon naman, ma'am, sa employee, doon may attachment tayo with the payroll and proof of employment. So, what if po wala silang existing? Kasi yan din po yung nire-raise namin with other enterprises na pagdating sa documents talaga, minsan hindi tayo nag-prepare yung mga ating mga clients. Although they have an existing client, regular employees, do they need, what if gumawa sila ng sarili nilang employment contract right after, pero employee talaga nila sila? Pwede po ba yun?
Meron kasi tayong mga clients or nagtatanong din, we allow naman company IDs. But then again, kailangan naka-reflect doon that they are residents of Naga City. Meron
Record
din,
ba talaga? Naga City, ano lang? Naga City, tawag nito? Resident lang. Residence
Yes,
lang talaga.
Yes po, ma'am. I hope you understand. Pera po ng Naga. So, kailangan po natin gastusin sa mga taga-Naga.
Halimbawa, nasa labas sila ng Naga, empleyado lang sila dito sa Naga.
Well, kailangan po, ma'am, kailangan po, ma'am, taga-Naga po sila. Kasi yun po yung nakalagay sa batas. Ginawa po ito for them.
Okay. Sige, thank you.
Pero Ms. BJ, would it, di ba ma-acknowledge naman po, like for example, you have a 10 employee or let's say 5 employee, pero 2 of them are from Magaraw, for example, and 3 from Naga. So valid ko for 75,000.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the last part?
For example po, you have 5 employees. Ang dalawa po dun is from outside Naga, like Magaraw, for example. Tapos yung 3 employees mo po ay from Naga, residing in Naga.
Okay.
So qualified ka lang up to 75,000.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Okay. So yung question ni ma'am,
I would like to suggest to
Ma'am,
everyone
follow
na
up. Sorry, ma'am. Follow up lang po dun sa question ni nung nauna. Yung kaninang question ko na let's say yung dalawang staff ko, they are from Libutan. However, they are staying here in a boarding house in Naga City for the past 3 years. So, di po ba sabi niyo po valid pa rin 'yon? Acceptable pa rin 'yon?
Yes po, ma'am. Kasi Liboton is in Naga City po.
Not Liboton, sorry ma'am. After Liboton, ano ba yung after Liboton?
Kalawag po?
Hindi po. Papuntang Manila.
Mabolo po.
Libmanan, sorry, Libmanan, ma'am, Libmanan. They are from Libmanan. They are born in Libmanan. However, for the past 3 years, kasi 3 years na sila nag-work sa amin, they're staying already in a boarding house dito sa Naga for the past 3 years. So, they cannot be considered as the residents of Naga, although the fact that they are paying also the boarding house where they are staying, so definitely that boarding house is paying the taxes, so they can be considered as Naga residents, di po ba? Pwede
Actually,
na po ba? Yung valid na rin po ba yun?
Yes po, ma'am. We are going to accept that. So
Okay.
long as, again, nakalagay po sa ID nila, yung address nila doon sa Mabolo. If not, they could request for barangay certification from Barangay Mabolo po.
Okay po. Okay, pero accepted po yan. Ano ma'am? Kasi ang nasabit kong documents sa kanila is yung BIR ID nila, which kasi po, nakalagay doon is where you, parang yung born, so nilagay nila Libmanan. But then they are staying here in Naga for 3 years na, with the same place. So kukuha lang sila ng barangay clearance.
Barangay certification or barangay certification of residency from their barangay.
Okay. In case lang ma'am hingan ako, in case lang hingan ako uli sa documents.
Mas mabuti po ma'am ipa-prepare na ninyo, and then kung nakasubmit na kayo ng form, ipasunod na po ninyo.
Sige po. Okay po. Okay. Thank you po.
Okay.
Okay, do we have other questions po from our participants? Hello. Okay po, go ahead po.
Yes, sir. So, ilinaw ko lang po, ma'am and sir, na lahat pala mag-a-apply for loan for these two kinds of loans, bona fide residents of Naga City. Hello?
Yes, opo. Yes po.
Wala. Okay,
hello,
so yun
po
na lahat, kung halimbawa apply for loan, kung hindi taga-Naga, disapprove. So, kailangan na ang requirements ngayon pa lang, magparehistro na dito sa Naga. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes po. You should be a resident of Naga City.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome po.
Okay, another question po. You have other questions po? Meron po ba akong hindi nabasa sa chat? Okay, let me check lang po. Okay, habang nag-aantay po tayo, if other would ask po, dun Miss BJ na mention natin earlier, do they need to address sa application form kung anong purpose yung gagamitan nila ng pera?
Yes, it is necessary kung ano po yung rason kung bakit sila maglo-loan. For BSP po, for the Business Stimulus Program, kailangan po natin dyan for additional capital. Kung other than that po ang reason natin, they could also indicate it, pero it will be subject for approval po.
Okay, thank you po. Any other question po from our participants? Mga clarification pa po ninyong lahat dun sa ating naging discussion? Any more? Okay, I think wala na atang question. May magpapahabol pa po ba? Okay, siguro wala na po, Miss PJ. So if ever po, do you have any last message po?
Yes. Just once again, we have two programs. We have the Angat Kabuhayan program. This is the regular loan, 1% interest, 2% penalty. For the affected businesses ng pandemic, we have this special program, the Business Stimulus Program. It's 0% interest, lahat po ng detalye na kailangan. It's also posted in Naga City Government page in Facebook. Also, magpo-post din siguro yung office namin. I'm not sure. But from time to time, mag-update po ako sa Facebook account ko din, sa personal account ko, with regards to sa different information that we discussed today. So, once again, my name is BJ Velusti Asis. Thank you very much.
Okay,
Thank
thank you, Miss
you.
BJ. But before po umalis lang lahat, we are not yet done. Let's just award po the Certificate of Appreciation to Miss BJ V. Diasis, the Credit Officer 2 and Section Head of Enterprise Development Center, Metro Peso, Naga, for sharing her expertise and knowledge as a resource person during the webinar on Naga City Business Stimulus Program or Financing, held on the 3rd day of September 2020 through the Negosyo Center Naga City Zoom account, signed by the Provincial Director of TTI Camarines, Edna S. Tijada. Thank you very much, Ms.
Thank you very
BJ,
much.
for joining us this
Gina,
afternoon.
bigyan mo na sa
Okay.
akin.
Also, as well po, yes, I'll give you po a printed copy.
Okay, thank you very much. Can I go
But
now?
before you leave, Ms. BJ, can we have a group photo na lang
Okay,
po?
go.
Group photo.
Go, sure.
A virtual group photo. There's po na pwedeng
Alright.
mag-open ng kanilang camera. Please. Kasi we'll update this on our Facebook. And Ms. BJ, if you have anything you would like to post it sa Facebook natin regarding other programs of Metro Peso, meron tayong Negosyo Center Naga City Facebook page. We could post that. Opo. Okay, so,
Okay, thank you very much.
okay, can we turn on our camera? Yung mga pwede pong makapag-turn on. Yung hindi po, okay lang po. Okay, at the count of 3 po, I'll take a picture. So medyo marami po tayo. So I'll have 2 pictures for this one. Okay po, kasi ililipat ko po sa kabilang screen. Okay? Okay, tingin na po tayo sa camera. At the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'll check lang po kung nakuha yung ating picture. Okay, for a while po. I'll just save lang po Ganito po talaga tayo virtually. For a while lang po kasi meron pa po tayong second picture. Kasi doon naman po sa kabilang slide. Okay. Another one po. At the count of 3 again po. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Thank you very much po. So thank you very much once again, Miss BJ. So sa ating mga participants po, muna
Thank
aalis
you, Ma'am
kasi...
BJ.
Okay. Huwag muna pong aalis because we have a few announcements po bago po tayo umalis ngayong hapon.
Jiman, can I leave now?
Okay, yes po, Miss BJ. Thank you very much po. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Ma'am
Bye-bye
BJ.
po.
God bless po.
Okay, at this point po of our webinar, we will have a few announcements na lang po bago tayo umalis. So, announcement lang po this coming next week. Sana makapag-attend po kayo September 8, that's 2 p.m. webinar on financial literacy. So, like niyo lang po ang Facebook page ng Negosyo Center Naga City para po updated kayo, or personally message niyo po ako sa Facebook chat ng ating mga clients sa Negosyo Center, mga nakakapag-attend po ng webinar, para dun po ako nag-update whenever DTI Camarines or Negosyo Center has a project or activity. And next po on September 10, 2 p.m. naman po, limited slots lang po ito, webinar coaching on management. So if ever interested po kayo, you can message me or email me right after po. Because mamaya po may accomplish tayong online evaluation form wherein pwede po kayo doon mag-indicate kung gusto niyo sumali sa coaching session natin or gusto niyo mag-attend for the next web. Please like the Negosyo Center Comes Through Naga City Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Negosyo Center Naga City, because recorded po lahat ng ating webinars from the start. This is actually the 9th webinar of Negosyo Center. So pwede niyo pong ma-review doon yung iba nating webinars, like sa branding, packaging and labeling, and so forth. And with that, it's time for us to accomplish url.com/csfwebinar09. So I'll send the link po sa chat box natin para diretso na po kayo dun sa link. So once you accomplish this online evaluation form po, you will automatically receive an e-certificate for attending this webinar. So pwede po kayong dumiretso sa ating tinyurl.com/csfwebinar09. So i-send ko po yung link sa ating chat box para po mas madali nyo ma-access. All you need to do is click the link lang po. For a while. Okay. Okay, send na po sa chat box natin. So thank you very much po sa lahat na nag-attend this afternoon. Maraming salamat po. And next time, hopefully makita po ulit namin kayo sa mga webinars ng Negosyo Center and DTI Camarines. Kasi it's very efficient sa ating part because virtually na lang, kahit may ginagawa tayo, pwede tayo makinig with our webinar. So thank you very much din po sa lahat. Maraming salamat. Don't forget to proceed po sa tinyurl.com/csfwebinar09. Indicate na lang po ninyo kung gusto niyo mag-attend dun sa coaching natin kasi limited slot lang po tayo. May issue for. So maraming salamat po. This has been G. Mancileres, your business counselor at Negosyo Center Naga. Thank you, everyone.